Hello, it's been a while. Damn, it's actually been a while. I did not record these for some time. I think since at least November or something like that. I just was pretty damn busy. Give me guys a moment. Yeah, so, well, it's kind of interesting. I'm kind of like in a phase where I basically, I'm talking with one of my friends and we have like these weekly calls with him right now to just kind of talk about our weekly goals, like what we're gonna do and what can we do for the next week and like how our week went. Talking about like obstacles and stuff like that. And by the way, like I recommend getting someone, like finding someone you can actually do like a weekly call with. It's almost like a coaching call, except it's not really the same, obviously, because you're kind of there coaching each other, sort of. But it's still good to have someone where you to keep you accountable and doing that kind of stuff. Anyway, yeah, it's been a while, and I'm like just kind of trying to work, and I have a whole plan that I'm gonna do for the next year or so. Although it's an unknown amount of time, really. I selected it as it's kind of like a year, but it's not really. And it's just coincidental that I chose my goals at like November. Like I planned out on November, even though and like the year is ending, and I have it's about 12 months to do the thing. But yeah, so like some people say, oh, you have New Year's resolution, but that's not really what it is. And I don't really believe in New Year's resolution, but that's besides the point. One funny thing that happened recently, right? So I'm like fucking broke right now, right? I'm surviving on $125 a month or so, barely, and that's like enough for the bills, like the water, electricity bills, and food. That's pretty much it. And yeah, that's it. Literally, that's it. And so like to survive on that, you might be asking like, how can I do? I mean, I'm not paying rent right now, obviously, but no, not obviously, but I'm not paying rent right now, and thankfully, otherwise this would have been like 600 or something like that easily, and you might be asking like, how can I survive on that money? And the answer is eggs. So I gotta show you this, guys. Okay, I wish I could show you a picture of it. I mean, like I'm not gonna edit this because I'm not bothered, but this is literally my food for the next roughly 7-ish days. So these 3 packs of eggs is my food, pretty much. And the funny story about this, like right before New Year, what happened is that I had no money left. Like my money finished because I had some delay with my payment, and like there's some issue with the payment process that I'm using. The only if you watch this series, I don't know if you like if you one of the viewers, you'd remember that I had huge issues of receiving the money because of where I am, and I only found one method, which is through a website called Buy Me Coffee, and they basically kind of like they can use Stripe, but they bear all the responsibility. So because of that, they also can support countries that Stripe normally doesn't support, and because of that, I was able to receive money. Now there's some issue with the payment processing. For some reason, I couldn't receive money in my bank. It's been like a month I couldn't receive that money. And now I have asked my client to pay me for a different way in advance, so I'm kind of okay now, even though there's a problem still. But the money still stuck there. And when I did not, when I was not able to get that money, I had to. I had to I woke up. I had to fast, obviously, for a few days. I just had to not eat at all, and I was fine because I want to lose some weight anyway. So it's like 2 birds with 1 stone. So some days I had to not eat. It's fine. I do that once in a while anyway. It's healthy to do so. And my mother wakes me up one day and says, do you want to go to the casino? Because here, like if you go to a casino and you play a little bit, which is like very little, like $10 or so or less, like $7. If you play that much, then you can go to, if you regularly spend that money, then you can go to the kind of a canteen, or not canteen, but like a buffet basically, and you can get all you can eat. That's actually really nice. And it's like the only casino that does here, I think one of the few, and it's actually like good food as well. So like for very cheap money, you can basically get to eat good food. And I went there obviously to eat food because I'm starving, and she gave me some money to play, and like so we ate and we were sitting there to play. I'm thinking, well, um, it's gonna be like there's no, I don't really think of like winning or losing. I'm just like whatever. This is like I think of it as like okay, I paid this money to eat for a very good discount. Whatever. I drank like wine and like ate good protein and stuff like that. And so like probably I already 7x my like money by eating that all that stuff, and and I'm like my money is finishing. I'm playing right, and on the very last bet, it's just a roulette machine, not roulette slot machine. And on the very last bet, I'm thinking, well, imagining, you know, like it would be very nice to win some money right now. Like, oh, I have no money right now. Like, it would be fucking nice. And luckily, I actually press it, and my mother was in there, and I win the money. And I like basically 6x the money, right? So I had 100 TL, and then I got 600 TL out of it. For that money, straight after, we went to a shop, and so like obviously stopped playing, went to the shop, and I bought, you guessed it, eggs. I got 4 eggs and some food for the cat, and that was exactly 499.95 TL. And it was like so funny to me. It's just like I cashed out from eggs. That is like my survival story. And the reason I was saying that, you know, like I was talking about me and my friend talking weekly, is that he actually like kind of I do these vlogs, but he nudged me to record this and document this because yeah, that is something. Is like I'm gonna remember these days fondly when I just have to like I mean I'm kind of used to it at this point. I'm used to like just eating shit and just trudging through, and I know that eventually it's all gonna pay off, and it's fine. Like you kind of build resilience to it, and it's very nice. Like, you know, before when I would dip to these amounts of money, I would kind of panic a little bit, but now I'm like, oh, it's okay, I'll be okay. You know, like I can just eat some eggs, or you know, maybe I don't have to go to the gym. I mean, I should be trying to exercise at home at least, but it's way better at the gym. Or you know, like if I really have no money for some time, that's okay, I'll just fast. You know, and it's like it sounds weird, right? But like some people will be like, oh my god, no, you poor soul, you have to fast. You know, like, but like we're meant to fast actually. By the way, like we're so used to eating like 3 times a day that we forget that our ancestors like fasted all the time, because you wouldn't get food all the fucking time from a shop. So that is something to like, I don't know, think about anyway. But yeah, these are gonna be the times I'll think back on and think like, you know, like these were the good moments. And one tip I would give to someone who is maybe going through something like this, just something hard in general, like, you know, you're in a period where you're just like trying to make it through, and like you're putting in the work, but your work hasn't really resulted yet, like in something. And one thing I also kind of learned is that a lot of work, I mean, this is kind of obvious if you think about it, but like a lot of work is so delayed, like the results of the work. Even like, you know, normally it's kind of like a month at least passes, right? I have to work for a month to actually see the results of my work. Now, in some cases, I can, like, if I'm working on videos, let's say, I can see, you know, how many views it gets first of all, but sometimes, you know, you're gonna have delay between your work, so and you don't get the reward, and you just have to be like confident that, or be sure that the work that you're putting in now is gonna eventually like give you back a return, and you just have to kind of live with it, especially when like you're earning $125 a month or something and you're barely surviving. It's just like, man, you have to have faith and try to be confident about this. Also, let me show you this. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm cooking sometimes, right? I mean, not sometimes, I'm just like improvising. So I got bread and like I mixed eggs and flour and a little bit of milk and some greens and salt and whatever. And I'm like, what if I dip thing into this bread? Right, technically that's kind of like French toast, but French toast is just eggs. So I flipped them. It doesn't look good, but I think it's gonna taste good. So we'll see, because I also added some onion in there and stuff like that. So I think it's gonna be lit. So the one thing that also I was gonna say that, you know, to like when you're still working and you don't get any results in this hard time, is that to know that this is like the part where you're building yourself up. This is when like whatever you're doing now is going to make you stronger. It's gonna build you up in some way. For example, me doing this, me living on this low this low income, it trains me to be able to save money better, right? Like now I can, like most people around me, I think pretty much no one can actually do what I'm doing right now. Like they could, I mean, it's possible, it's not like complicated, but are they really gonna do it? I don't think anyone can do it. Like literally no one's doing it around me, but I know can actually like live on just eggs and not buy anything else. I mean, even I'm a perfect egg and I buy small things here and there, but I'm still largely saving a lot of money. So, like for example, that's one skill, right? And like when, like being able to tolerate that, that's like a skill. Oh, you can say it's the acquired ability, right? Because when I'm earning more, I'll have the option to buy a lot more things. But if I can not spend as much, obviously I'm not going to be eating just eggs if I earn more, but I can like save a lot of money and spend everything else on skills and knowledge and all that stuff, because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing this year. And there's quite a lot I've done actually. I want to show you guys. So for this year, it's going to be kind of interesting, right? So I don't know if you see, I'm gonna try to I don't know if I'm going to show all of it, because I don't want to reveal some information that would kind of tell some people that know me who I am, or also I don't want to reveal some of the plans either too early. But I mean, it's not like anyone is watching this, but like just in case. But the main thing is I've done this, so like I'll do this from here. So on my wall you see a bunch of new things. So if you remember, I had like a list of things there, like that I accomplished. I don't have that anymore there. I have it on the Discord server somewhere if I need it. I don't really need it now that much. So what I have there is actually my plan. Now there's actually short-term plan, mid-term plan actually, or is it short-term plan? Oh no, this is actually short-term plan. Yes, I mean short-term plan in terms of my whole plan. This is like for the next 12 to 16-ish months, like rough timeline. But basically what I've done is somewhere back in November, I sat down and I just went to the cafe, and that was when I was broke. So I went to a cafe and I just brought those posters with me and got coffee and got nicotine and just planned for like 8 hours straight pretty much. Well, strategize rather, like, and I wouldn't actually recommend people to plan too much ahead, but rather what I was doing is trying to arrange all my options in like a path where I'm like, okay, this is a good enough direction for me to follow. I know that I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Now these might change. I might not do some things or do some things that didn't right there, which is fine. But the overall direction of the thing is gonna change. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to have clarity. Like the issue with having a brilliant mind. No, obviously, if I do say so myself, and that's, or rather, I was not really brilliant, more like ADHD almost, because I get a lot of ideas. Like if I'm like stimulated, I get a lot of ideas. Or sometimes randomly in the night, I might get an idea and I write it down. Like whether it's a business idea or whatever. And the issue is that. And then you have these lists of ideas and you're like, well, where am I supposed to go now? Like which direction, which ones I'm going to pick, which ones I'm going to throw away. And my mind keeps these ideas because it knows that we're going to need to know this so that we can actually strategize and then like put it in order and like organize it and like, okay, in which order, which ones are we going to be doing. So like I had to strategize, otherwise my brain's going to explode. And so I did it and now I'm good. And yeah, I feel good about this year, but I don't want to say that. Like I don't want to hype myself. Like one thing I learned as well is that I do like motivating yourself too much. I know it sounds contradictory, but motivating yourself too much, or also not doing things when you're not motivated, is not good. Now it makes sense. It will probably make sense for most people if I say you need to do things when you're not motivated, right? People say, "Oh, it's discipline," yes, but when I say you shouldn't motivate yourself, people would be like, what are you talking about? Of course motivating yourself is good, but it's actually the same problem as not doing things when you're not motivated, because you're relying on emotion. You're letting emotion do the thing, and keeping yourself grounded and present. Man, I'm still sick as well, sorry about that. Keeping yourself grounded and present in day to day, because that's when the activities happen, that's when the work happens. I think that like makes everything a lot easier. So that is something that I'm kind of like thinking more about. So the other thing that I've done there, that I guess let me show you again in more detail this time, is 4 sheets of paper that you saw. And those 4 sheets of paper are, well, basically there's one multi-millionaire, let's say, and I'm his Discord server, and he has a mastermind that I'm not a part of, but he shared this mastermind for everyone for free, where basically he sets up goals and standards for his next year. Now, he doesn't actually highlight setting up goals, because that's actually kind of a setting up goals is more detrimental than it is positive in my experience, kind of, depending on how you do them. So having a direction is good, but hyping yourself up towards it is not really good, in my experience, at least. And so far, that's kind of what I learned as well from people from people like Dr. K, for example, from Healthy Gamer, if some of you know, like hyping yourself up, or like when you're like doing the work because you hyped yourself up rather than kind of logically doing it, so to speak, is not good. But in this case, what we're doing here actually is not really setting goals. It's more talking about day-to-day standards and day-to-day processes, which is more important and more actionable and more tangible in real life, and something that you can start executing on the next day. Whereas having goals is, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, I want a giant body, but you know, what are you actually going to do about it? So yeah, and let me show you this. I don't know how visible this is going to be. I can't flip the camera, so I kind of have to do this. So I'm just going to read it out. So the standards, so I'm not going to read all of it, obviously, but the main thing here is the overall standards, and here's like one of them that is an example for me, which is basically like, what are your basic truths? What is something that is just a standard for you, the day-to-day standard, and you write a few of them, obviously not all of them. And here's, for example, what I wrote. I will not waste time as much as possible. Life is short. Every hour of my life should go towards something intentional as much as possible. It can be leisure as well as work, and unintentionally wasting an hour is the same as being dead for that hour. That's my thing. And obviously, right there, something that you actually believe in, right? So that is something that I like do think a lot about. That is something that I really try to do already, actually, like last few months at least. But like I want to make sure that my year, or like my life in general, is as, I don't want to say optimized or efficient. It doesn't really, it's kind of accurate to say that, but that's not really what I mean. More so, you can say also intentional, but that's not really what it is either. I guess fully spent, you know? I want to make sure that I live with every hour of my life. I actually do something that I want to do with every hour of my life. That I give it my all to my work. I want to, naturally that also means I want to get to my goals as fast as possible, right? As everybody else. But I actually don't think that everybody wants to get to their goals as much as me. There are people who are, and they're already successful or are on their way to be successful. But most people, I don't think, live that way. I don't think most people genuinely want to try, they really want to get to their goals as fast as possible. They want to because they're lazy, and I'm lazy too. But that's not the only reason why I want to do that. The very big reason for me is that I know I'm mortal, And as doomer as it may sound, I think within 5 years something bad might happen due to AI. Like at the very least, there's gonna be a crisis, like an economic crisis, because of jobs displacement. Like UBI is gonna be introduced. There's gonna be crisis, like whether you like it or not, within 5 years. Like like my estimate, because I work with people who I'm very involved with AI. Let's say not actual development, but like in the space. And yeah, that is like it's very likely something is gonna happen. There's just so many possible scenarios, and people are not worried enough, and it's gonna fucking happen. So I'm thinking like, fuck, bro. In 5 years, I might die. Like that's what I'm thinking, and I want to make sure that I live my life as much as possible in these 5 years. Obviously, I don't have just 5 years, but I do not want to waste my life. Like people say, "Oh, you have time. You know, you're young." No, I don't have time. What do you mean? We have one life. Like, what the fuck? Like, who wants to live like this? Like, oh my god. Like, it just it one deep fear I have that is still like something that drives me, not fear, but something that like repulses me. Is when imagining like people saying, oh, just work till 60. You can retire till 60, and when you're 60, you can retire, and what do you mean? You tell me I need to work for 40 hours in the office and like like I don't have anything against like normal jobs and office jobs. Like those people can do what they like. But to me this is like death. Like fucking no, I'm not doing that stuff. That is crazy. Fuck. Yeah, so like I want to make sure I live my life as much as possible. Like that's basically what I want. That's like one of the main things there. Another cool thing is he also included a basically self-offering, which is similar to what Jordan Peterson did, and he mentioned him as well. And people say it's pretty effective. So here's, for example, mine. I'm going to give you a quick glance, but it's like a page basically of, well, it's what it sounds like self-offering. You're authoring yourself, like your life. How does your life sound like when you achieve exactly what you want? So for example, it says like I wake up around 8 to 10 a.m. I go to do a quick walk, and then I go to the gym. I eat blah 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 blah, like exactly what I want to eat, and then I work and I make sure that my mind is not interrupted, stuff like that. So basically, like how would you actually want to be like? And then you also describe things like for example, like I work a lot on to live the life I truly want, blah, 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 blah. You can say what you believe in, so things like that. And I think that actually like it kind of programs you. I actually do think there's power in this. Because when you read this, you're kind of reminding yourself, oh, wait, I am that kind of person. Or like, I do want to become that kind of person. And you just kind of like program yourself basically to become that person. Because how do you actually, like the one thing that I also kind of learned this year, there are also things I learned recently. Obviously, it's been months. So it's a good thing that I learned a lot of things. But one thing is that like the way you change yourself, the way you improve, right? It would make sense, obviously, to things like gym and whatever. But this applies to everything. The way you actually change yourself is through work, and it's not obvious, but it's day-to-day work, right? So, for example, if you want to be able to focus better or work more, then what you do is like you struggle day to day, and then eventually become that person. So, like reinforcing that day to day and working towards every day, that's how you change yourself. That's how you become that different person that you want to be. It's going to be an interesting year. My general focus is going to be, one thing I'll say is I will be working on doing faceless channels, automated faceless YouTube automation. So I am going to partner with one person who is very successful already, and to run his channels, and we'll see. I'm gonna basically try to learn as much as I can from him while running his channels and earning as well, and learning. So the priority is basically authority, so to speak. So like proof, and then learning so I can do that, and then earning so I can learn and improve. Basically, that's kind of like a priority. I'm definitely gonna be earning a lot more this year. I think. Well, I don't want to say definitely. Fucking know. But like if I succeed, I will definitely will. But that's not the goal. The goal is to do a pretty huge project I have that I don't want to reveal yet because there's a chance at some point my competitor is gonna see this and like, huh, maybe I should steal that idea because they can and they actually can. So I don't want it to happen. All right, it's been long enough already. I want to eat my food and I need to get to work.